Tell you a little bit about TeamMates, how it started. Been coaching for 36 years and started back in 1962, which is pretty much ancient history. And so over those 36 years, traveled pretty much the whole country. So the family structure and the changes in the family structure have been a concern. Today, over half of our kids are growing up without both biological parents. And so back in 1991, because of these things that we were noticing, I decided we'd try to take a shot at doing something about it. So I got up in front of our football team one day and I said, how many of you guys would be willing to serve as a mentor to 7th or 8th grade boy, Lincoln Public Schools? And 22 hands went up. And so we thought, well, maybe there's something to this, and we began to expand the program. First in Lincoln, Nebraska. We began to mentor boys and girls. And we dropped the starting age from 7th grade down to 3rd grade. And then it spread across the state of Nebraska. And currently we're mentoring 10,200 kids this last year, and in 5 states. The important thing to remember is this, that we do have data. This is not something that we just come in and say, well, we think this works, and it sounds good and sort of feels good, but we know it works. We found that in 80 to 85% of our matches, that attendance improved. And that sounds like a little thing, but maybe not a little thing to you guys, because you know that with improving attendance, grades are going to get better, graduation rates are going to improve, percentage of kids going on to college improves. We find that in a mentoring relationship, a young person with a mentor is 56% more likely to go on to post-secondary education than someone from a similar background who does not have a mentor. 90% of our young people have a post-secondary education plan. Des Moines has been really good at getting scholarships. Last year we gave out $3.7 million in scholarships to TeamMates graduates. Let me talk to you a little bit about what a mentor does. First of all, we tell our mentors this is not tutoring, so you don't have to know calculus, you don't have to know how to conjugate a verb. Hopefully you could, but if you can't, that's okay. It's simply building a relationship and loving that young person. And so a young person who sometimes doesn't always think the best about themselves, and maybe some of the messages they've received are not very positive, if that person who has no obligation to do so cares enough to show up week after week and invest in them and care about them, the message begins to come through, you know, maybe a lot of these things I've thought about myself, a lot of these things I've heard about myself are not necessarily true, because this person who has no obligation to do so cares enough about me to show up and be here week after week. And maybe I am worthwhile.